Hello there. Today our focus is going to be on figuring out the formula to find the volume of a cylinder. But we're not going to start with the cylinder. We're going to start with a box of Jell-O. We're going to start with a prism first, something that you already know how to find the volume for before we move on to how do we find the volume of a cylinder. Okay, let's get started with the prism. To be able to draw this, let's go ahead and let's draw a rectangle. And from this rectangle, let's draw, and these lines need to be parallel for the top and the side of our box. So these lines, if you can make them parallel, it'll make it look a whole lot better. Connect these lines so that you can see what the box looks like. So now when we find the volume of a prism, I know that you guys know that there are 3 dimensions that we are given. We are given the length, the width, and the height. Does anybody know what the formula to find the volume of a prism would be? If you said that the volume would be length times width times height, you are correct. So I want to look at another formula that might be used as well. And for this, we're going to need to finish out our 3D figure. Remember this little side length that I put here? I want you to make another one with dotted lines down here in the corner. And then with the dotted line, I want a parallel line coming down. And then this is going to be parallel to the bottom, and it's going to connect to that corner. So now we can see the actual 3D bit of this prism. We can also see something else. This piece right down here is the base of our prism. It's what the Jell-O box is setting on. It's setting on the base. So this right here is the base. Now, the base actually has an area. So we can actually say the base area. And to be able to find the area of this base, we would take length times width. So another way to describe the volume of a prism, instead of length times width times height, another way would be volume equals base times height. Now, the B is capitalized because that means there is another formula within that variable. So the base, which we just found here, was length times width. It's really saying the base is length times width, and then we would have to take the height. So that's how we find the formula for a prism. So now let's use that knowledge to be able to find the formula for a cylinder. I'm going to go ahead and draw a cylinder just like we did the other day when we were making our 3D sketches. And if you remember, we do have a height for our cylinder. And it does have a base that it sits on. There is a base. Now, the base of a cylinder is a circle. So does anybody remember how to find the area of our base, which is a circle? If you said the area of a circle, let's just go ahead and put here. The base area is a circle, so the area would be pi r squared. You are correct. So now let's go back to our generic volume formula, which is volume equals the base times the height. Well, in this case with our cylinder, we can tell that the base is a circle. So my capital B will not be length times width this time. It's going to be the area of my circle, which is pi r squared. Once I have my area of my base, I can take it times height, and then I will have my volume for my cylinder. I hope this helps as you continue working on your piñata project. Stay tuned for tomorrow when we get to going with cones. Okay, well, let's see how this actually works, this formula for volume. So if we think about the volume of a cylinder, we've got volume equals pi r squared times height, where pi r squared is the area of the base of our cylinder and the height is how tall it is. So I have two cylinders here. I've got my can of Swiss Miss and I've got my little can of pineapple juice right here. So let's go ahead and draw our can of Swiss Miss. This will give us another chance to practice our 3D drawings. And I'm going to go ahead and measure in centimeters what this actually measures. Now the diameter has to go through that middle, and this one is nice because there is an actual center point that kind of shows me where it's at, and I should have got my readers. It looks like it's 13.3 all the way across. So 13.3 centimeters. The diameter is always easier to measure than the actual radius. Now I'm going to measure the height of this, and this looks like it is 14.4. So my height is 14.4 centimeters. So to find out how much Swiss Miss cocoa mix I have in here, or how much it can hold, I'm going to use this formula. So I'm going to find that the volume equals pi times the radius. Now this is the diameter. You can tell because I've drawn a line clear across. So I'm just going to use my handy dandy little calculator here and take 13.3 divided by 2 to find the radius, which is 6.65. And that is squared. It's the radius squared, so 6.65 squared. If you want to put parentheses around that, that would be great. We're going to end up doing that first anyway, since that's an exponent. We have to solve that first. And then we're going to take it times our height, which is 14.4. So basically this boils down to pi times 6.65 squared. We're getting kind of a bigger decimal here, so I'm just going to go 44.23 times 14.4. And now I can just plug this all in. For pi, I always just used 3.14. So we got 3.14 times 44.23 times 14.4. So my volume is roughly 1,999.9. Cubic centimeters. That's for my Swiss Miss. Now let's go ahead and look at our pineapple juice. This one I'm going to set like this because sometimes cylinders, they don't always set like this and they set on their side, but we still know which one is our base. So let's go ahead and draw this one a little bit differently. And I'm going to go ahead and measure this going directly across. This one has a nice center point also, so I can see. So this one is 5.4, which is my diameter all the way across. And my height, it looks to me like it is 9.8. So to be able to find the volume of our little pineapple can, we're going to take volume equals pi r squared times height. We're going to have to find our radius, which is 5.4 divided by 2, so 2.7. We're going to square that, and then we're going to take it times 9.8. So 2.7 times 2.7 times 3.14, which is pi, times 9.8 is 224.33 cubic centimeters. So there you have it, how to actually use the formula to find the volume of a cylinder.